Да, сейчас много вопросов поступает, поэтому я думаю, я буду делать несколько остановок во время своего рассказа, потому что можно как-то логично поделить по секциям. Я буду сначала рассказывать про свой университет, потом будем на Common App в общем смотреть. Поэтому я буду иногда останавливаться и отвечать на ваши вопросы. То есть не всегда вот так вот буду прерываться.
А давайте вы будете писать вопросы во время остановок. Или мы можем временно отключить чат.
Ну, я могу пролистать, посмотреть.
Ну ладно тогда. Просто старайтесь, чтобы вопросы были по теме.
Да, вопросы лучше делать по теме, и то, что нельзя просто прогуглить. Так что я здесь для того, чтобы вам рассказать про...
We have Irfan from Afghanistan. He prefers English.
Oh, so we have a non-Russian speaking person, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to be doing it in English then. Yeah. And I would appreciate it if everyone could like just phrase their questions in English too. So yeah, so it would be like our communication would be more smooth, if you like. Yeah, so I'll be answering those questions in like I'll be stopping to answering your question to answer your questions. And such questions like how many points did you score in IB? I'll be addressing those later. So some of the questions they might be like going a little bit too far along the presentation. So I might be mentioning them later. So if I don't answer it right away, just don't worry, I'll get to it. Okay. So should I just go ahead and start? Yeah, we have like 101 participant now.
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen now. Right, so here I am. My name is, once again, for those who just joined, my name is Vlad, and I am from Kazakhstan. I was born and raised here, but I study in Singapore at Yale-NUS College. Yeah, that's mostly why I'm speaking here today, because I got a full ride scholarship there. And so I think you might or might not be interested in my story of getting in there, but I'm going to tell you anyway. All right, so yeah, here are just a few pictures of my campus. Yeah, so my thing about Yale-NUS College is that, yeah, for the first time, I went to Singapore in 2014 to be part of Discovery Science Workshop back at the time when I was still at studying at NIS in Astana. And so this was really my first exposure to Singapore, and I really loved the country. I really loved the culture. I really loved the education system there. So as I was getting to know more and more about Singapore, I was actually like planning on coming there to study. But at that point, when I came back from Singapore, I just didn't have enough like. Yeah, of course I did my research, but I didn't find enough opportunities for scholarships. So I wasn't necessarily sure that I was going to be studying in Singapore. But then a few years later, I got to know about Yale-NUS. Yale-NUS is a mix of, all right, it is an autonomous university, but it was founded by Yale University and National University of Singapore. So basically, this is one of our selling points. Like that we are at the crossroad between Asia and Europe, and that we share both those like philosophies. And so basically, as you all know, many American universities provide generous financial aid. And so Yale-NUS is just one of them. Yeah, just to address one of your earlier questions, Yale-NUS does provide full ride scholarships, and also it provides need-based financial aid. So if you want to know more about Yale-NUS's financial policy or like scholarships, anything more specific, then you can just go ahead and hopefully you can see it on my screen now. You can just go ahead and have a look at it on the Yale-NUS website. And also I made sure to, well, include in your email attachments, I've included a link to an info session. It's like a fairly recent development that we shot together with the admissions office with Yale-NUS. It's basically a short like express info session about Yale-NUS. just around like 15 minutes long, delivered by myself. So probably you might want to check that out if you're interested in Yale-NUS in particular. And just feel free.
Vlad, let me just mute everyone for a second and not allow them to unmute. Okay, we can continue.
Yeah, somehow I don't see the questions here at this point. Yeah. Let me see if I can get to the chat. Oh, right. Yeah, I'll just open it up here. Okay, so later on, when I will be answering your questions, just feel free to ask something more specific about Yale-NUS and get into Yale-NUS. Because, yeah, I attended one of those sessions myself with Sultan, who he used to be a Yale-NUS student who graduated in 2020. So I really benefited from it. And yeah, here's my piece of advice number one, just applicable not only to Yale-NUS University, but to any university in general. So just make sure to contact someone from that university that you're planning to on getting in, like especially if that's your dream university, to just get to know more about it and get some personal perspective from it. All right, and yeah, I'm just trying to be brief because otherwise it could really take hours just talking about my university. So so here it is. This is the page of the Admissions and Financial Aid Office team. So once again, you can ask more specific questions, and I'm just going to try and address them. But if you want to get too technical, then I might not be able to address all of your needs. And so a good idea might be to email our admissions team. But we'll get to that later. Just don't worry. All right. Yeah. So this is kind of the first break point for today, and I'm just gonna answer a couple of related questions. Yeah. What kind of exams are required to get in? Basically, Yale-NUS is no different from many U.S. universities, because Yale-NUS, of course, is both Asian and American university, but its application system is based on Common App. So basically, I wouldn't say that it's much different from other US universities. So you need SAT, you need Ielts, but of course, like we said, there are going to be some changes related to COVID-19 situation, and you need to be aware of that too. Do you think NIS is a good background for uni? It depends really. The NIS background really gave me an opportunity to cover a lot of questions, to cover a lot of areas, and basically formulate my interest in a more technical sphere. Yeah. So just to give you a little bit of a context, when people apply to Yale-NUS, they do not apply to be part of one particular school or faculty, like it happens in universities in the UK, for example. You basically apply, well, to study liberal arts in your first 2 years. And then eventually you choose your major only at the end of your second year to officially declare it at the start of your third year. So basically, I still haven't declared, I still haven't chosen my major yet, but I'm 99% sure that I'm gonna declare mathematical, computational, and statistical sciences. So this is a pretty complicated name. But basically within this major, I am planning to study data science. Data science is basically a crossroad between business, mathematics, statistics, and well, computational sciences. Yeah, here's a good question. I was wondering what the admission rate is, since it is obviously difficult to get into this type of university. Well, Yale-NUS is quite a special case. Someone says 3 to 7%. Well, 3 is a little bit low, but well, Yale-NUS average admissions rate is around 5%. So which is lower than in any Ivy League university. But this is probably due to, yeah, please no drawing on my screen, all right? Because yeah, that's not fun. Okay. What I was saying is that Yale-NUS's admissions rate is lower than in any Ivy League university, but that is probably partially due to our class sizes, because Yale-NUS is a small university and it has only around 900 students. So basically because the previous class batches were a little bit smaller, it's a bit uneven now, but mostly on average, there were around 250 people per class. So basically in my class of 2023, there were 250 people, all right? So that's why, because the college is small and it's getting a lot of applications, the admissions rate is very, very low. So you probably imagine how, how nervous, how anxiously interested I was in getting to know the result, whether I actually got in to Yale-NUS. It was a huge surprise that did. Not a surprise, but huge delight. Okay, so yeah, just a lot of questions. I'm already out of my breath. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start the practical part for now. Yeah, please hold your questions till later.
Let's just freeze chat for a while.
Can you do that?
I think it's better.
Okay, okay. Yeah, just one more specific question from Amina about the deadlines. Yeah, as like I said, I asked Raushan to pin an attachment, like a video with a short info session. I talk about deadlines there. I talk about the application rounds. Well, since this question is easy to answer, it's the first round is the 15th of January and the second round is the 15th of March. Applicants from both rounds are considered equally. Yeah, but if you are interested to know more about Yale-NUS, then just please go ahead and watch that video. It's the information there is really densely packed. There's nothing that you don't need to know from there, and you can really get a more or less precise picture of what Yale-NUS is and what it expects from you, because the special focus there is on the holistic admissions that we're gonna be talking about today as well. Yeah, I'm just gonna reshare and well, here it is. The main focus of our session today is to look at the Common App sections and just to give you my personal insight on how it is better to approach it. Well, these are the personal details. Probably not interested. All right. So we're probably going to start off with grades or honors. Honors. Yeah, I think it's a good starting point. We often start with those. Sorry, I don't see the chat at the moment. So if I'm ignoring your questions, give me a second. Right. Okay. As you might know, yeah, well, probably if you're attending this session, then you probably have some idea of what Common App is. Common App is a platform for you to apply to universities in the US, but yeah, and Yale-NUS being prime example, these do not necessarily have to be located in the US. There are many great universities that well, make use of the American application system and basically collaborate with American universities, but they are located overseas, like the New York University in Abu Dhabi, for example, or Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar. There are really a lot of examples, and just feel free to check them out. Common App is basically a tool that helps you to put together your application to, well, basically track your communication with the university and, well, send in your application form. And it has a lot of sections. And since this is like really a lot of sections, we're going to start covering them now. So I'm not going to focus too much on the personal details part. You're probably going to be okay on your own with filling in your name and your birth date. But I'm just going to focus on something more open-ended, like honors, Well, here's my honors section. Honors is somewhere, well, it is clearly defined for the US high schools, but for Kazakhstan, it probably might be a bit ambiguous. But what you put in honors are your school achievements, national achievements, and international achievements that you think are worth putting in there. So basically, these could be like Olympiads. This could be awards from your headmaster, from your well, if you took part in some Republican Olympiad or international Olympiad, then it's great. Then it goes straight there. So just do bear in mind that there are only 5 spots for your honors. So just be mindful of what you put in there. And I think it is worth it, like just reading through each one separately. And I'm just going to talk you through it now. All right. So the first one that I put here is Headmaster's Award for Leadership, Outstanding Academic and Social Achievements. And well, so as you might see, well, there's a space for you to describe the nature of the achievement. Then there's some space for you to describe which level it was at. So the first one for me was school, state, or regional, and well, basically the grade levels that you participated in this in. So for me, it was grade 10 through 12. So it was basically 3 years. Then I have National Forum of Young Ecologists, Diploma of First Degree. So one more tip about the honors section, try to be specific here. Yeah, well, it might be ambiguous, but you really want to catch the attention of the admissions officers reading your application. Then it was top 3 in the National Science Stars Science Communication Competition. Then it was Outstanding Contribution to Young Leaders International Summer Camp in Shakpatili, Georgia. And last but not least, Diplomas of 2nd and 3rd degree in Moscow Institute Physics and Technology PhysTech Olympiads. Well, what can we see from here, from my honors? I was trying to, and hopefully I was successful in it, in painting a well-rounded picture of myself as an applicant. So basically I have volunteering here, well, in the Young Leaders International Summer Camp, but also I show my inclination towards science because, well, 3 out of 5 awards here are science related. And so I'm just trying to make an accurate impression of who I am. And basically this is applicable to all sections. Just don't try to overkill it or lie about yourself, because basically first of all, your admissions officers, they were not born yesterday. They will find out if you openly lie on your application. But on the other hand, even if you do get away with it, well, when you get into your university, it is also a matter of whether it is a good fit for you. So, well, even if you do get in, it's not guaranteed that you're gonna like it there. All right. So please be honest and just put your best out here. Yeah. If you don't have 5 honors to share, then just share 2, 3, 4, however many you see fit. Yeah, I'm just really rushing through it because that's a lot of stuff in here, but we'll be looking in more detail at more important sections like the essay, for example. I saw a question there about my test scores. Yeah, so here they are. Here's basically a breakdown of my test scores. So where do I begin? This I took each of these tests just once. So basically I took SAT reasoning once and scored 760 in evidence-based reading and writing and 800 in math. So I took it once. I also took SAT subject tests once, 3 at a time, and I scored perfect 800 everywhere. And also my IB score for the core part, it was 42 out of 42. And in total, it was 44 out of 45. I lost 1 mark for TOK, for the TOK component, for those familiar with the IB system. And yeah, so basically here are my test scores. You might be a little bit freaking out, like, well, you have to have perfect scores to get into your dream university, but you really don't have to. There are boundaries and there are limits for the scores that you have to score to get into your dream university, and it really depends on the university. So, well, I really recommend you to research the averages, look at the figures, just to know what your university expects from you. And I think I'll stop to have a look at the questions now.
Okay, I just unfroze the chat. Guys, please put your questions in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Your question should be related to the academic honors and maybe to tests.
Yeah. Yeah, I see one of the previous questions. Any tips to Russian SL? Well, yeah, I got 1560 from my first time, but just one important thing, I didn't start prepping for SAT the day before SAT. Yeah, well, that should be obvious. And I really spent a lot of time practicing, and I actually took my first practice test with Raushan in the American corner when I was in grade 8, was it? Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was I think grade 9, so grade 8.
Yeah, probably grade 9.
2016. Yeah. It was summer 2016.
So it was summer 2016, and so I took these tests in like 2018, 2019. So that was a lot of time to prep. Of course, I didn't prep all the time. There was like a huge break around 1.5 or 2 years. But then I started prepping intensely in my last 2 years of school. Did I pass Ielts? Yes, I did. I also took it once and I scored 8.5 out of 9. I think that was pretty okay for my university. How did you prepare for the SAT? Well, I could talk about it for hours and hours, and well, I have a lot of experience teaching SAT, and so I give my tips to people who are in my groups, who happen to be in my groups, and even with the American Corner with Education USA, me and one of my colleagues, Ryan Beck, who now studies in New York University of Abu Dhabi, we taught over 150 hours of SAT last summer. Yeah, that was a lot of work. That was a really amazing ride. So basically, I've gone ahead and shared my contacts. Well, will share at least. Raushan will just attach my contact details, my WhatsApp number, and my email to the email that you get after this session. So basically, if you want to get like, if you want to improve your score, or if you want me to have a look at your essay and basically just a wide range of topics that I can help you with, then just feel free to contact me, because I have students currently, and I'll be glad to help you too. So basically just drop me a text for prices, and we can talk about how I can help you. Yeah, just a little bit of advertising myself, right? Hopefully that's okay. Yeah, that's a lot of questions. I just cannot physically answer all of them.
Guys, I think it's really important for you not just to look at scores, but actually look at academic accomplishments.
Right.
And if you look at them, you have to keep in mind that you don't have much space. You have about like 150 characters. And in those 150 characters, you really have to explain what you did.
Yes, and
it's important, right?
Of course, universities in the US, and especially liberal arts universities like mine, they value holistic admissions, special emphasis on the word holistic, because well, your test scores and your academic accomplishments, they are definitely important, but they are not the full story by any means. And so you really got to paint a full picture of it, because I'm not really sure about all the other universities in the world, but the US universities really want to know you as a person, and they are interested in looking more like beyond your grades. And so yeah, hopefully that makes a strong point. Just don't focus too much on your test scores. What about additional projects, not honors, maybe projects that you created by yourself? I'm gonna talk about it later in the activities section of the Common App. We'll get to it, don't worry. What is your GPA? You mean my current GPA in university? If that's the case, then it's 4.75 out of 5. So after my first year at school. But also do bear in mind that we haven't declared our majors yet. So I almost haven't taken any courses in my desired specialization. So we took a wide range of courses, from literature and humanities to philosophy and political thought to quantitative reasoning. So basically yeah, I can talk about that for ages. And so if you just check out that video about Yale-NUS, I'm talking about common curriculum and the nature of liberal arts studies a little bit more. Just give me a little bit of time to breathe. My predicted IB score was 45 out of 45, and I ended up getting a 44. What did you write in your essay that really stood out? I'm actually gonna be reading my essay to you later on in today's session. So yeah, are you a student of IB, Astana, and ISIB? No, I finished my studies in Haileybury, Astana. Haileybury is a private British school that offers the IB curriculum as well. Yeah, and I went there on a scholarship too. Okay, that's about it for the questions here.
And I'm gonna freeze chat again, yep. And let's just move to activities, right?
Right. I think it's time to move on. Yeah, just one more thing. What did you study in the first 2 years of uni? I am currently in my second year of studies. Well, basically a rising sophomore. So I just completed 1 year of studies. Just to be clear. Okay, now back at the screen. So here's my Ielts score. Just left it out first. All right, now moving on to activities. Very interesting section that really gives your admissions officers a chance to get to know you as a person. Well, more so as a well-rounded person rather than focusing explicitly, like specifically on your achievements of one kind. All right, so I'm just think it'll be okay if I just read some of those. How about I read?
I think it will be nice if you just read some of those. And guys, make sure you really look at the wording, because it's important how you need to learn how to use this space in a way that you really show your background, you show your achievements, you show what you have learned, and you basically show your personality.
Right. So, okay, the first one. It's an environmental activity, and it's Haileybury Astana International Eco School Community. I was holding the position of the Eco School Ambassador, liaison speaker, and the Energy Department Manager, and working on the Green Flag Award. The second one was athletics club. So this one's about soccer, first team player in the school U19 team, and being in the top 3 teams in the regional U19 competitions. Then goes academic. So here's what I'm talking about: teaching IELTS and SAT subject tests. I was organizing exam preparation courses for students inside and outside of school. So what can we see from the first 3 activities? Well, first of all, it's a really diverse array of things. And that's what I meant by well-roundedness. Well, you really want to show yourself like as a person who is interested in more than one thing. But on the other hand, like just try to find balance, because if you disperse too much and include too many like small activities, that's not going to be that's not going to make you look good either. All right. So yeah, one thing to note here is that the activities section has a strict word limit, and you just really have to adhere to those requirements, because you don't have a chance not to. Like it will just abruptly like stop you from typing any more words than you have to. Well, I think the word limit there is around 35 words, if I'm not mistaken. So you really have to capture the essence of your activities, almost like writing a CV or your more like your resume, because in your resume you have to capture the nature of like many activities in just one page. All right. So this is kind of the same thing, because you really have to be focused and do mind your language here, because for example, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to be as specific as possible. And for athletics, for example, being in the top 3 teams in the regional uniting competitions, this kind of showcases that I have some level of expertise in this field, right? And that I have shown some level of devotion and commitment to this field. For example, for the environmental activity, the position of the eco-school ambassador, liaison speaker, and the energy department manager. These are just like 3 short phrases, and they already demonstrate like what I was doing there, and so what were my main responsibilities. So I think you got the point. Like, just keep it simple, keep it short, and let the admissions officer know what you're made of. Just don't lie. Just be honest. So there was some dancing, there was some science and math. Just as you can see from the categories here. Yeah, so here it is. And there's art, there's research, there's community service. I'm just going to read through 3 more, right? Engineering project work and presentation, research on the wind power, renewable energy from grass and soil, recycling, paperweight. Then community service, volunteering, assistance to Mother Teresa's sisters, soup kitchen, helping out at a retirement home, art sport fest for disabled children, teaching at a local school with limited facilities. And then last but not least, student government / politics. Member of Astana School Squash Community, Student Council of International Schools in Astana, organization of GeekCon festivals, volunteering at international marathons, and MUN activities. So one thing, one takeaway from these 3 is that I wasn't intending to use full sentences. These weren't meant to be full sentences. This is just like some bullet points, kind of just points from a list of huge list of what you did in these activities. And I think that's okay. And what I haven't covered yet is, well, basically this part, if you can see my cursor up here. So you also need to indicate your grade levels. For example, I did my research, engineering project work and presentation, grade 9 through 12. So that was around 4 years. Then it also went like 4 hours per week and 30 weeks per year. So your admissions officers, well, they really want you to be specific on this one. And even though it's kind of hard to estimate the number of hours that you take part in something for, well, you just gotta give it your best shot. Just and also there's this small section there on whether you would like to continue doing the same thing at university. And well, no one's gonna check, but if that's your intention to carry on with this kind of activity at your university, then you can just feel free and like check this out. Okay, so I think that's about it for the activity section.
Let's have time for questions.
Sure.
Guys, now you can just write your questions in the chat. They should be related to activities. Common App allows to put 10 activities maximum.
It's a maximum of 10 activities. I did put 10 activities, but some people choose to put fewer activities, like 5 or 7. Yeah, it's not a requirement to just fill this up to top.
And you really have to choose the ones that you show either commitment or you have achievements or something.
Yeah, not just, this is probably not a place to put your like one-time things. You just really have to show some dedication and commitment. And can I ask people to just put questions in the common area of the chat, not privately for me, because so that others can see these questions as I am addressing them. So what I was saying, IB is a great thing for activities. Is that a statement or a question? Yeah, sure it is, because there's the component of the IB program called CAS, Creativity Activity Service, which requires you to spend a certain number of hours on, well, doing creativity, activity, and service, well, either volunteering or doing sports. And so quite a number of my activities came from the CAS requirement of my IB experience that I listed here in the activities, of course. What is IB? I'm not gonna answer that. Probably just give it a Google. Do you need to prove your activities with some certificates? Nope, because yeah, there's a practical side of it, because your admissions officers, they really look through like hundreds and even thousands of applications, maybe all in one day. So it's just not practical for them to be looking at proofs and like certificates of your achievement. So they really expect you to be honest about it. If I have Olympiads, where should I write them? Honors or activities? If this is a local Olympiad, well, something of an average significance, then you probably want to put it in activities. If this is a huge achievement, like if you won the International Math Olympiad or International Chemistry Olympiad, then this goes to honors. What is different? What is the difference between honors and activities? How to classify activities? I'm not sure if these are like two separate questions, but okay, the difference between honors and activities is that, once again, honors is something bigger, I guess. So activities is something that you do like on a day-to-day basis while you're at school, and something that you're interested in. But honors is something that is officially recognized, like, well, that you have been given recognition for. So basically you've been awarded a certificate or diploma or something else to just officially recognize your competence. I think that's about the boundary. Yeah, at least from my experience. How to classify activities? That's probably easier than you think. Different categories will just pop up as soon as you start the application. Do the activities play a big role? Like I said, it is a pretty big thing for American universities, like to get to know you as a person. And so you have to have a picture of yourself in mind before you start filling in your application. Yeah, I just saw a funny comment like, he's not from our earth. No, I am actually, yeah. It just takes a lot of hard work and effort to put in the applications. Yeah, like I said, activities is a huge part of holistic admissions, and so they are really valued. Well, more than you can think so. Like, okay, if I'm a big spike, volunteering plus educational channel, is it fine? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe clarify what do you mean by big spike?
Maybe he's talking about like he has big spike in one of the sciences, and he does volunteering, and he has his own channel or blog. I think it's good, but you really have to brainstorm. You know, like Vlad cannot really give you any decision, you know, like admissions decision, because
this is not a yes and no question by no means.
Yeah.
If you have a passion, if you are passionate about something, then just go ahead and put it in your application. Yeah, it really belongs in your application, but it doesn't mean that you have to write everything about it. Like, just make sure to balance it out with something. What were your achievements, honors? Pretty comprehensively listed in the achievements and honors and activities sections. Because I'm reading through my application now, just to be clear, right? So these are exactly my honors and my achievements that I'm talking about now. Big spike. Okay, a lot of questions. So honors should be some international. Sure, some of them have to be, not have to be, but they can be international, or they do not necessarily have to. Like, if you do have some international achievements, then just feel free to put them up there. But if you don't, that's fine. Like, just once again, don't lie on your application. Not cool. I changed my schools, so many that have few honors. How to be with honors, the importance of honors in my portfolio. Well, I think this requires some personal like consideration. Once again, a little bit of advertising myself a little bit more. Yeah, you can just feel free to drop me a text or drop me an email. And because I really do a bunch of different things. Like, I not only tutor SAT, Ielts, and not only have like students who I help with essay writing, but I can also proofread your resume. I can also proofread your well, activities and honors, and well, so basically I cannot just fit it right here in 1.5 hours. Probably understand that.
And I'm going to just add, everyone who registered for the webinar, you will all receive the video that Vlad is talking about, and plus you will receive his contact details.
Yep. So yeah, I'm just going to be referring to that video a lot. Yeah. Should we kind of exaggerate our activities? Exaggerate is not really the right word. You might want to sell yourself. You might want to try to sell yourself, but not hard sell. Basically, there is nothing wrong about like phrasing things in a way that makes you look good. So I think just go ahead and use your language to get your admissions officers, well, interested in you. So there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a thin line between basically just like painting a good picture of yourself, making yourself look good, and like downright lying. So I hope we understand that. Can you show your activity list again, please? Yeah, well, I'm at some of my activities now. You can just stay here for a while for you to read through while I'm answering other questions. What if I was chosen for Yale summer program, but it was deferred due to COVID? How and where can you use it in Common App? Yale summer program. Well, I'm not going to be talking about Yale summer program in particular, but I think I can just make it more general for any kind of summer programs. Well, like Raushan mentioned in the beginning, there will be a special section in the Common App applications for next year that will give you an opportunity to describe what was basically, what didn't happen, was planned but didn't happen, that could enhance your application. And obviously that's good to be talking about opportunities that you could have pursued, but once again, I wouldn't just complain about it, all right? Because universities want to see the side of you that is, well, resistant to adversities. Yeah, adversity quotient is kind of a big thing. So if not everyone is familiar with the word adversity here, well, it's basically about overcoming obstacles, about how you can deal with challenges. And COVID-19 is a massive challenge that we're all like facing at the moment. And so if you can make it look good in your application, if you can basically just share something with your admissions officers that will make you like look good, how you dealt with this problem, because it is a massive problem. Everyone recognizes that. So then it's going to be a huge advantage for you. And I see like
plus, can I just add to the summer programs? I know that many students were kind of like selected for different summer programs. And many of these programs are internationally recognized, especially this Yale program. And we know that, I think in Kazakhstan this year, we have only 2 students who were selected for it. You can still add this information to your honors section, because being selected is like marked good. You were selected out of thousands of applicants. So just try to give context and just try to show that even though you couldn't go, you still did something. You still tried to use this information. Are you gonna, I think you're gonna have it online. So you're not going there, but you're still gonna have it online.
Right. Just don't feel obligated to be winning everything. So even actually being selected for something is a huge achievement on its own. Well, case by case, of course, but most of the time. Can you leave your contacts? That's what I will do in the email that you'll receive right after this session. So just feel free to contact me. Yeah, all right. Could you please send this document from Common App? I am probably not going to do that because it contains some personal information. But I could probably look at it with you again if you contact me personally. Okay, what about passion projects? You will list them in activities. This is going to be the last one that I'll take for now. Yeah, like I said, if you were passionate about something and if you did a project about it, well, that's basically what we're looking for in the activities section. Because even for me, like I'm just gonna zoom in here a little bit. Research. I was really, I still am really passionate about well, renewability and wind power, renewable energy, and I had quite a few projects about it, and I just went ahead and shared it in my activities list because, yeah, because it's something that showcases who I am pretty accurately. And so I think the chat is frozen at this point, right? Yeah, is it? So I can just
yeah, we can continue.
Great. Okay, so the next section is essay writing. Yeah, that's a lot of words. As you might or might not know, there are several prompts related to Common App essays. I personally do not recall all of them, but my choice of the writing topic, yeah, you're just gonna have to see for yourselves, like all the topics in the next Common App application cycle. But what I chose is to write an essay on a topic of my choice. So basically, that was a free topic. That was just a free flow of fantasy, and you're gonna find out why right now, because I'm gonna be reading through it. Yeah, should I read through it? I probably will.
Yeah, let's just read it.
Okay, I'm just gonna read slowly. So the prompt was, share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. So this one's fully of my own design. I didn't really stick to any particular topic, and I just shared on what I wanted to share. Right. I close my eyes and my imagination takes me back there to the waves glittering with sunlight and the comforting warmth of the Mediterranean. All of a sudden, I see danger creeping and cutting through the peacefulness of the moment. Neither a shark nor a killer whale, it still makes the silence scream at the top of its voice. A plastic bottle. One soldier from a huge army of starting non-biodegradables. I first faced these uncountable troops as a child when my father showed me a landfill beyond the periphery of our city. Whether or not it was out of my perfectionism and minimalistic view of the world, I felt the urge to clear up the space. Long before that, my family ran out of answers to my questions, so I had to figure out myself how to dispose of the waste. I contacted the local environmental group and was taken aback by the fact that there were no functioning recycling plants in the area. With all its hopelessness, the game seemed to have been over, but giving up was not among my options. I bombarded my teachers, counselors, and even local university professors with questions. I Googled recycling inside out, but still could not find a universal solution to the global problem. I was swinging back and forth like a broken pendulum right until my biology teacher, who I had not really been in a close contact with, asked me to stop for a moment. I always remember her simple words: aim high, but start here and now, and you will finish even higher. The persistent hard labor finally started being fruitful. It took me a week to fill in the project proposal, find the materials, and a camp of followers, and make my first step to tangible change. I was absolutely struck by how simple it was. I needed nothing more than a household blender, a pile of waste paper and mild plastic, scissors, a few containers, and smiles on my team members' faces to assemble my first recycling machine. Not that I was ready to answer the calls of teenagers having something against peripheral landfills straight away, but I was definitely standing on the verge of a breakthrough. Despite initial reservations from some adults, I kept on studying more advanced literature as I was dying to research the problem in greater depth. I eventually made my intentions clear and got noticed. Since then, I have taken my project to a new level while working in international clusters and Singapore Discovery Science Workshop. When I came back home, I decided to take on some related hobbies and expand my environmentalism. With great pleasure, I was losing all track of time planting trees in the local park, side by side with anything but indifferent volunteers. I made use of my fluency in 3 languages to come back to the topic again and again during my trips to the UK, Georgia, France, Russia, and many other places to gain valuable experience and share it with my country. I was doing the best I could do, making small steps on my way to being published and contributing to the change in the people's minds and my homeland's attitude towards environment. I take a deep breath. With all that in mind, I am set to act against the infamous plastic trooper. A couple of white strokes, and he is silenced in my bag. Looking at the ever-white line of the horizon, I understand that by no means is he the last man standing, but neither am I. I have a lot of like-minded fighters and the determination to seize every opportunity and tackle every challenge to win the never-ending battle. Right, I take a deep breath now. Okay, so that was my essay. Basically, we can talk a lot about this essay, but yeah, normally I just talk about it like trying to break it down into components. But recently, while doing some research, career-related research, yeah, well, someone says, "Wow, well, thank you." Yeah, appreciate it. while doing some career-related research, I figured that it's great to look at things, well, basically when you're applying for a job, but probably in your writing as well, in your college writing, not like regular writing, in terms of the framework of 4 components, like it was IQ, EQ, CQ, and AQ. Let's start with IQ. IQ is the intelligence quotient. And basically through your essay, you want to showcase that you have you have what it takes to succeed in your university academically. So just some of the parts of my essay that showcase this is that, well, I was bombarding my teachers, counselors, and even local university professors with questions. I was Googling recycling inside out. I was reading books. And so basically I'm showcasing that I am the man for the job, for being in that university and succeeding there academically. So that is for the intelligence quotient. The next thing is your emotional quotient. Well, yeah, because intelligence is not everything that you need to succeed at university. You also need to be emotionally prepared. Well, yeah, probably I could just leave it up to you because it's probably not so hard to find the cases of emotional intelligence here, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. So basically, I was collaborating with people like in my project. I was happy to see my team members' smiles. And basically, then I decided to take on some related hobbies and expand my environmentalism. I was working in groups with people, like not just on my own, but working in groups to succeed and basically to just make steps towards my goal. And so basically that is for the emotional intelligence. And then goes the cultural quotient. Cultural quotient is crucial when it comes to US university admissions. Well, basically you need to showcase that you have that international perspective, that you are able to work effectively with people of different cultures, because it's not a secret that the US universities have a lot of international students, and you're gonna have to collaborate with them. You're gonna have to like share your everyday life with them. And so how I demonstrated my cultural quotient is, well, it was through the Singapore Discovery Science Workshop. Yeah, that was a little bit of a trick because yeah, I mentioned Singapore. I'm clearly aiming to get to Singapore, right? So it's, yeah, probably it was just my thing to focus more on like one university rather than others. But if you want to like catch your university admissions officer's attention, then might be one of the tricks, like just to mention the country that you're applying to or like the university you're applying to somehow. And so I was talking about cultural quotient. Well, I was making use of my fluency in 3 languages, of my trilingual abilities. And then I was going on trips to the UK, to Georgia, France, Russia, and not just like tourist trips, but like actually doing something and working on my goal. And so that is how I demonstrated my cultural quotient. And the last thing, last but not least, it was, what was it? It was adversity quotient. It was the ability to overcome obstacles on my way. Well, I think it's pretty clear. My essay is kind of focused on the obstacles that I had to overcome, like that I initially that I didn't get support. I hadn't gotten support for my case. And so no one was really interested in recycling and actually caring about the environment. But then again, I just went ahead and I just got on my teacher's nerves, my counselor's nerves. I was looking personally for a way to deal with those obstacles. And so I didn't just stop right there because like facing one small issue, I was actually like dragging my way forward, even though it wasn't easy by any means. So that's about it. The 4 components that I tried to showcase through my essays. So hopefully you like that. Yeah, so here are my contacts here in the chat. My WhatsApp number, my email. Feel free to drop me an email or a text. Okay, I'm just, yeah, I'm going to be answering questions now. Did you write it on your own or with help of someone? This is a good question. yeah, I just want to step away from the essay a little bit and look at your whole application in general. I just want you to make sure that you don't have any like grammar issues or like sentence structure issues in your essay, because it is a huge turnoff for admissions officers. Yeah, well, I got as close to the university admissions office as possible, like by just working there. So I got some inside perspective. When your admission officer is like working really actively during the admission cycle, and sometimes they have to read up to like 100 applications per day, and that's not just like 100 essays, that's like 100 of entire like applications. So it really sometimes it really takes them, well, a lot of effort to just keep reading through your essays. And of course, if it's well, relatively not so exciting to read through your essay, and also there are grammatical errors, then well, let's just face it, your application might go straight into the trash bin. If they notice some grammatical errors that were really uncalled for, and well, it might or might not mean, if you didn't intend so, then fine, but it might mean that you didn't put enough effort in your application, and that you didn't care enough to just run it through a spell checker another time, or just talk to a person who could help you out with that. And so this might be a huge turnoff. So back to the question, if I wrote it on my own or with someone's help, well, in my case, I was fairly confident, probably more confident than needed. Like, I don't know, it was a little bit nervous after that, but I wrote it on my own, and I checked it on my own. I didn't really approach many people with that. Yeah, I just, yeah, just do bear in mind that by that point, I already had experience of teaching SAT, Ielts, and writing essays for other people. So I probably had enough expertise to just deal with it on my own. How can I contact you? Yeah, there are the contacts down there. Did you write any supplementals for NUS? Yeah, just to be clear, Yale-NUS and NUS are separate universities, even though we are actually located on NUS's campus. And initially, starting in 2014, when I first went to Singapore, that was my dream to actually get into NUS. And so basically that was kind of a trade-off for me to be getting into Yale-NUS, but I'm really happy about it. And I didn't write any supplementals for NUS because Yale-NUS is a fully autonomous university. By saying that you're trilingual, you mean that you speak Russian, English, and Kazakh? Yeah. How long did it take to write this essay? Yeah, it took me around, say, a week. Yeah, but my style of writing essays is probably not so ordinary, because yeah, I just like to lay out my thoughts in the natural order. I feel like it feels more natural and like flowing that way. And then I just edit the grammar and sentence structure, but not the content of the essays themselves. That's why it really doesn't take me a lot of time to write essays. But I wouldn't say that this approach would necessarily work for everyone.
I think they have to understand that you studied in IB program. Yes. And Vlad was writing essays for like every single subject, including physical culture. So it means like he has lots of experience.
Right. Yeah, of course, just having breakfast writing an essay, ordinary thing. Yeah, if you have a lot of experience writing essays, then it should be really easy for you. But if you don't, then it's fine to take a lot of time. Some people actually like take months to write a perfect essay for Common App. So don't feel like there's something wrong with you, but there isn't. Do you have Instagram? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. I'll just type it up in the chat here. Here's my Instagram handle, also Telegram handle. Feel free to use it. Okay. Is there a word count restriction in Common App? you are expected to write around 650 words. The minimum is 250, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I think that Vlad already went through the science of a strong essay.
Mm-hmm.
So he covered all of that. I just wanted to point out that like after reading this essay, do you feel that everything kind of comes together, all parts of his application, everything that he wrote in others, everything he wrote in activities, and this essay kind of makes it all together. So the application looks really solid. So we can see that it was done, like everything was done by one person, and we really know his personality. For some of you, you met Vlad like today for the first time, but you already know what he's interested in, you already know his background, and you already know lots of information about him. Maybe some of his friends do not know this information about him.
Right. Yeah, this is a really good point that you really have to show that it's all written by one person. Because if you delegate writing your essay to someone else, and then you fill in your achievements and activities and honors section yourself, then it's just really easy to understand when you read an application. There's a question about how did you get motivated to start all of these activities and projects? I seem to lack motivation and inspiration. Okay, well, I'm gonna say that you have to research. You have to actually try a lot of experiences to understand, to have an idea of what you're passionate about, because it's really not easy to be carrying on with activities that you have no personal investment, personal interest in. So I suggest that you try, go ahead and try like different things, and then see what works best for you. Actually, it might get tricky at times because see here, I'm writing a lot about environment and basically thinking that I'm gonna like pursue a career in that field. And I was actually applying to many universities for chemical engineering / environmental engineering. But then somehow this first year of university just really turned it upside down for me. And so now I'm almost sure that I'm going to be majoring in mathematical, computational, and statistical sciences, and going to be doing data science and data analytics. And so, yeah, I really was working for a lot of years in that direction, in the direction of environment and chemistry. But yeah, as soon as I came to university, it really just so happened that I got really passionate about another thing. And so I think I'm going to be changing my course of studies a little bit. Does Yale-NUS have a semester abroad programs? You can get to know some of this information from the presentation that is going to be linked in your email. And also you can go ahead and check it out on the Yale-NUS website. Like the entire list of partners, including Yale University, which I have a very close relationship with, because basically we like to refer to Yale University as our father in the US. So just feel free to go ahead and check it out. What are signs of a strong essay? This question is a bit too general. Yeah, I think I like to think that my essay is fairly strong. And even now, like every single time I'm reading through it, I see a lot of ground for improvement. And of course, since now I've gone through like 1 year of college, I see a lot of like things that could be done better. And so basically it's just impossible to get it 100% like polished, 100% like perfect. And the intention is not to do so, because if you over polish your essay, this is not necessarily a good thing, because well, you might lose your personal touch if you just focus too much on like well, correcting your grammar or sentence structure or whatever it is. How to come up with the idea of the essay? Really depends on your personal circumstances. We can talk about that if you drop me an email or choose to book a personal consultation. Have you recommend essays from your teacher? Yeah, I do have some recommendation essays from my teachers, but I cannot really show them here because I personally I don't have access to them, because this is the way Common App works. Your teachers share your recommendation essays confidentially through Common App, and basically this is like kind of like an end-to-end encryption, and you don't get to see, like, as a student, what your teacher wrote in your recommendation. Yeah, sadly. Would be very interesting. Why didn't you go to the US? Why Yale-NUS? Yeah, I'm not sure if Worm joined us at the beginning of the session, but I was talking about how I love Singapore and how Singapore is my favorite country. My intention was to be studying in Singapore. And so, and I also was interested in the idea of liberal arts and common curriculum. And so basically this kind of education model, because I believe that I needed more time for me to come up with a sensible choice of my major. So just put these 2 and 2 together and yeah, the Yale-NUS. So kind of an international perspective, Western education in my favorite country. I think that pretty much summarizes my choice of university. Did you get a scholarship? Yes, I did. I am sorry if I repeat the question, but will you send us this document after the session? I am sorry, I can't. Yeah, this contains some confidential information. I don't understand how one can write an essay for a month, because it seems for me like to the end of this process, the essay will look completely different, but not necessarily better than the first draft. Yeah, Louisa has a point, because like I said, if you over polish your essay, you can lose your personal touch. And if you let the other person decide for you what belongs in your essay, then it's not your essay anymore. So just feel free to, like, I don't know, just make sure to balance it out. Did you include the reason why you wanted to enter college in your essay? This is, well, this belongs in a separate section, because this is the common section, Common App. But there are also sections that you send directly to your university. So there was also a block of my essays that I sent to Yale-NUS directly. And there was an essay, you could see it from the title. It says, why Yale-NUS? And so I had to say, why Yale-NUS? And yeah, of course, I included the reason why I wanted to go to that particular college.
Vlad, are you going to show those short essays?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we just freeze chat and kind of like move on?
Yeah, I think this is a good like linking point to the second part of the application, because this was just the first part, like the application that you submit to every single university, like that you're applying to on Common App. But also you fill out separate sections for each university, including Yale-NUS for me. So yeah. Yeah, just one more question from Louisa. Can strong essays compensate lack of honors if your honors on first to second tier? I would say so. Essays are a really crucial component of the US applications, so cannot underestimate that. Okay. So yeah, it's nothing of importance here. Let's go straight to the Yale-NUS College questions. Of course, there are some general questions like when you would like to apply, your passport number, your intended major. So yeah, just want to focus on this section a little bit. The academics. So I indicated environmental studies as my first academic interest, and mathematical, computational, and statistical sciences as my second academic interest. And turned out it wasn't true. So basically, I happened to change my mind after my first year at college, and this is perfectly fine. These questions are basically just for stats, basically statistic purposes that are used in aggregated forms to, well, basically see whether students' intended majors match their actual majors, but that's just a technical detail. You don't feel obligated like you need to know what you're going to be majoring in right now. well, of course, there are exceptions. Like if you apply to a specialized school, in case of Yale-NUS, it's law school and medical school. You have to submit your applications directly to them. Yeah, well, that's a separate case. But there are exceptions for every single university, I'm pretty sure. There's the Yale-NUS writing supplement. It's probably a really essential section. And we're going to see a lot of different question types in here. So there are some quick takes. Quick take is kind of what we did in the activities section, but just a little more flexible with the word limit. I think it was around like 50 to 65 words. Might not be remembering exactly, but yeah, here's one type of questions, quick takes. I'm just gonna read through one of those. Quick take one. My friends would be surprised if they knew that I enjoy coding in my free time and created a maze minigame, which got me first place in the regional digital boom competition for the best student project in entrepreneurship development and a computer that I couldn't afford otherwise. Right. So yeah, I hope that you see through this piece, and that I'm still trying to like basically show the admissions officer who I am as a person and what I'm interested in. Here I'm talking about another skill of mine, that I can do coding, and that I'm passionate about it as well. And so then I also talk about the best student project in entrepreneurship. So basically indicating that I got acknowledged somehow for this project, and a computer that I couldn't afford otherwise. Well, basically I'm showing that there were some circumstances that I had to overcome on my way to college, and yeah, links conveniently back to the adversity quotient that I was talking about in the essay. Yeah, this is quick takes, basically, yeah, I don't know what to say about this type of questions. You just try to densely pack some interesting information about yourself, and creativity plays a very important role in this part of the question, because it's by any means it's not easy to answer like these quite open-ended questions in such like limited space. And so basically the admissions officers want to see how you're gonna get through this situation. Not easy, but you have to deal with it. Yeah, I'm just gonna read through quick take 5 as well, because I like it. What is the question you want answered? Does absolute truth exist in art? 2 + 2 = 4. Gravity pulls from the center of the earth. But is there a chance to describe the well-known masterpieces with the same degree of certainty, or calculate this uncertainty instead? Well, so what I'm trying to say here is that, well, Yale-NUS is a liberal arts college, isn't it? And so I'm trying to demonstrate that I am not only proficient in physics and engineering and technical details, but I am also like thinking about these spheres from another like side, like from the philosophical side. And so I'm asking those different kind of questions that liberal arts students typically want answered. And so by this, I'm demonstrating my degree of fit to the university. Yeah, this is a very important concept. And so a university, you might be very exceptional, but might not be a good fit for the university. And so basically that wouldn't really look good in your application. But also, once again, I just want to highlight, because it is so important not to lie, because if you lie your way through into the university, but then end up being unfit for this university, then you're not gonna be happy. As you see from my story of getting into Yale-NUS, I had a personal story behind it. And so I didn't really care much about, well, different things like rankings or, well, yeah, I did care about financial aid and like having a full scholarship, but that's because I didn't have a choice. But also I cared a lot about whether I was fit to this university and whether I could thrive there, whether I could succeed there and feel happy. And that was a really important component. And like one of our participants asked, we're getting to the why Yale-NUS question. Yeah, basically I'm not gonna read through it, But I'm going to say that I was trying to get very specific. I talked about how I visited Singapore and how I was really excited by Singapore. And then here, this little part, after talking to several Yale-NUS students, I demonstrated my interest and that Yale-NUS is not just superficial, like kind of something for me, but I really did my research, I really did my homework, and came prepared. That I talked to students, that I like basically researched the Yale-NUS website inside out before applying to Yale-NUS, and I think that was a plus on my application. And of course, I was talking about how I would stay generally happy and motivated on the long run at Yale-NUS. Well, I think that's all that matters. And then another requirement from Yale-NUS was to write another essay, like around 500 words. Yeah, this prompt, like, which says number 4 here, describe an idea behind your personal and learning motivation, what inspires you and why. This exactly mirrors Common App prompt. Like Yale-NUS just wanted to see our writing on another topic from the Common App prompts. Not the case for all universities, like it's just a personal, like a thing specific to Yale-NUS University. So that's basically just another essay. And here I didn't talk about my academic interests. Here I talked about my role in the society and my learning habits and my project work. And just talked a little bit more about myself as a person, because I had already talked a lot about who I was in the academic field, and I thought that my application needed a little bit more of a personal touch, like a personal perspective, and just for the admissions officers to get to know me as a person before the interview. And yeah, I think that's about it for the application. I can get to the questions again at the moment. Probably there are going to be some.
Guys, please write your questions. I think it's there are not so many universities that have this quick takes, right?
Yeah, that's probably unique to Yale-NUS.
Yeah.
And very surely, most definitely, there will be a thing that is unique to every university you apply to. I just physically cannot cover it all here, all kinds of questions. Stanford, okay, Stanford. Did you have any backup plans? Well, I did apply to some universities in the Americas, in North America, of course. I applied to some universities in Europe, but those weren't really my first, second, third choices. There was just backup plans. My main backup plan was applying to Nazarbayev University. I didn't mind staying because it's a great university. But it so happened that I got into my top choice university, and I'm really grateful for it. Well, mainly I was struggling to choose between 2 universities, Yale-NUS and KAIST. You probably heard of that, Korean Advanced Institute of Technology. Yeah, so basically I was choosing between 2 completely different things. Yale-NUS with its liberal arts education model, and KAIST with its fully technical education model, like yeah, just not a single module on business or any other fields, literature, humanities, just solely technical. So just a little bit of a background for you. And I decided to go with Yale-NUS because yeah, because of all the things that I talked about earlier in this webinar. How long did it take to write the entire application? It took quite a lot of time, but I made sure to allow myself a lot of time. And I think I started writing the application at around the same time that my last school year started, like August, September. And I submitted it in November. Yeah, it was November. So it was like 2.5 months before the deadline. And yeah, it actually played out pretty well because I got offered an interview before the deadline of the first round. So basically that was pretty early. Did you prepare a CSS too? For those who don't know, CSS is a financial aid profile linked to Common App 2. That's a whole separate story, and I didn't have to file like a CSS for Yale-NUS because Yale-NUS has separate financial aid application for those who are shortlisted for the interview only. So, but this is the case for Yale-NUS. Like, just don't take my word for it. Just go to your intended university's webpage and figure it out from there, from them firsthand. Does your university give full scholarship? Yeah, addressed that one already. What is one thing that you wish you knew before applying? Yeah, this is a really good question. Not an easy question though. Yeah, I wish I'd known how enlightening and how cool actually the whole common curriculum and liberal arts education experience is, because definitely this is something that pushed me out of my comfort zone, since like I hadn't really taken any philosophy courses or like specifically literature and humanities courses before coming into university. And one thing I would tell myself is just like would be just not to worry all too much and just cross the bridge when it comes to it. Yeah. What is the difference between full ride scholarship and financial aid? Full ride scholarship is a scholarship that you receive for 4 years of your studies. And typically it comes with a stipend and sometimes summer research expenses covered. Well, it basically covers all of your 4 years. Financial aid is solely need-based, and it's based on your, well, need. It's meant to cover your expenses and not, not let your inability to cover like the bills, because for the US universities, yeah, they are not cheap by any means. And so, well, this is solely need-based. And for financial aid, you have to reapply every year. There are some details about that. Was Yale-NUS your RD or ED? Sorry, I'm not sure about what you mean by RD and ED. Yeah, if anyone can help me out with that.
Regular decision or early decision.
Right, not really used to seeing it in this kind of abbreviations. Yale-NUS doesn't have a regular decision or early decision. It has 2 rounds. The round 1 deadline is the 15th of January. The round 2 deadline is the 15th of March. And so these 2 rounds are equal. And so we can say that they're both regular decision. Yale-NUS doesn't have early decision. What liberal arts education model means, difference from technical. Liberal arts doesn't mean like, well, Yale-NUS is a liberal arts and sciences college. So basically every single student has to take an array of courses in different disciplines, from philosophy to literature to statistics to science, and then see for themselves which major they would like to specialize in. So basically there are 2 years of studying common core subjects and then specializing in something. Yeah, it was a regular decision. How did you manage your time when you were in school between all the extracurricular activities and academics? Yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing that is probably gonna surprise you all. In my high school experience and in my college experience, all the first year, I never stayed up later than 11 p.m. to do my university stuff. So, or high school stuff for that matter. Well, what this means is that like I have a really regular sleeping schedule. And so I never do school stuff after 11 p.m. Because this is the time where you're not really productive. And so I found it helpful for myself to wake up early and do stuff in the morning rather than actually staying up late. Yeah, so that is probably my secret to time management. And also I have really strong organizational skills. I really like to plan things out. Sometimes it takes more time than actually like doing something. Yeah, planning out is very important for me. Yeah, and so basically it depends on you. Like it's probably something that works for you personally. Could you please throw some light on the financial aid application process? Yeah, like I said, for Yale-NUS, there's a separate financial aid form that you fill in. Well, some of the things that you put in your financial aid profile, yeah, I think that applies to most universities. Well, this is your income in different forms, the income of your parents and your personal income. And also you share information about your assets, like how much you own. Basically your financial aid profile is meant to evaluate how much you can actually contribute to your education personally. And from the side of your family, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in the financial aid application process, but I'm just going to share one thing that is probably useful to understand. For Yale-NUS, there is this thing called student effort contribution, and it is valued at 1,500 Singapore dollars per year, probably around 1,200 US dollars, if someone's more comfortable with that. And so basically this is a contribution. This is the amount that students are expected to contribute personally. So basically you work on campus, like I do in the admissions office, like some people take up different positions, and students are expected to cover that. So this is meant to motivate students to work, to like actually collaborate with the university and paying their fees. And literally everyone pays that fee, pays that $1,500, including those on full scholarships. So yeah, that was just one detail, one random fact. Can you share a piece of advice on how to show the academic interest through essays? There is no story behind my interest in a certain discipline. Well, you're just gonna have to back it up somehow, because I don't know your personal story. And it takes really a lot of time and several sessions of talking about yourself to get to know you as a person, which I also do personally. Like I work now. I have several students that I'm helping with applications, and basically it requires more knowledge about you. So can I help you with that right now? Sorry, what school did you graduate from? I graduated from Haileybury, Astana. What was your school GPA? It's not really applicable to the IB system, so we don't count GPA. But my IB score was 44 out of 45, and the predicted score was 45 out of 45. So basically, that would be like an equivalent of 5.0 out of 5. Does financial aid cover education costs? Yeah, as a matter of fact, it does. It does cover education costs. It covers your residential fees, so which includes like a full meal plan, for example, and your cost of accommodation at your dorms. So yeah, it covers pretty much everything, even the book charges. So basically you get around like $300 for books every semester. Is Yale-NUS need blind or need aware uni? Yeah, that is a good question. And we were specifically trained to answer this question with the admissions office. And well, Yale-NUS used to be fully need blind, used to be. But now as the COVID-19 situation unravels and some universities have to adjust their budgets a little bit, make cuts somewhere, and rotate funds somehow, Yale-NUS is shifting to being need aware for international students. So that's going to be the difference. This is not going to affect the current students, but this is definitely going to affect future students. And the last question on here, how do you put GPA to Common App if IB doesn't count? I didn't. I just put my IB score in there, and people understand that. Whew, okay. So here it is.
Guys, if you have any questions, maybe we can have like 2 more questions, because I know that Vlad is tired of talking.
No, I'm never tired of talking. Yeah, I like talking.
But it takes like hour and a half just to go through the application file. Can you imagine how much time you need to fill it out?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say again, filling out your application like fully is not something that you do in one evening. And if you would like my help with that, then you can just drop me an email, because yeah, just to be clear, I'm not doing that for free. That's like my regular work. Okay. That's not 2 questions. Yeah, I'm just gonna choose the couple of last ones in here.
There is a question how I was helpful for you. I will just try to answer it myself. In case of Vlad, he did everything by himself. So I wasn't really helpful for him, but Vlad was really helpful for me. Last year, he did a lot for some of my advisees. We actually had a chance to travel to Petropavlovsk, and there he led SAT classes, plus he showed his presentation, the same as you see. And plus he worked with about like 80 students at the American Corner in Astana. Plus he worked with students at Nurda School. We had a big camp with students from Bloom Innovation Lyceums, and they were about 50 students, so he worked with them also. So I wasn't helpful, but he was extremely helpful.
I wouldn't say that it's like entirely fair to say you weren't helpful. You definitely were, because yeah, Miss Raushan was helpful for me because she was my motivator, like at the very beginning. Because when I was taking like my first SATs, like practice tests, well, she went to great lengths to motivate me and well, actually let me know that I can actually get to my top choice university and that I have what it takes. And yeah, that was really crucial. And after that, yeah, mutual collaboration. Yeah, that was a lot of fun doing that stuff last summer. How much cost? Yeah, how much does my consultation cost? Well, there's a price list for different things, because you cannot value your like SAT consultations or like subject tutoring, which happens on a, well, more or less regular basis, or reading applications or helping you with your essays. Well, you value them differently. So there's a price list, and just feel free to contact me personally. I'm gonna talk to you about it in private. Yeah, humble, thank you. Did you receive application fee waiver from the IB counselor? Yes, I did. That's basically just a couple clicks, not a complicated process by any means. Yeah, thank you guys too for joining us today. That was a real pleasure. Okay, is it possible to prep for Math 2 physics in two months? Is in 2 months? Well, I prepped for 3 SAT subjects in 1 month and scored 800s in all of them. But it's not to be taken as a like as a universal guide, because of course you do not start prepping for SAT subject when you actually start prepping for the SAT subject, if you know what I mean. Because I used to take all of those subjects in school, and I had a lot of background knowledge in them, and it really helped for SAT subjects. So it really depends on your level of prior knowledge before you actually start prepping. Yeah, my email is going to be in the presentation. Oh, sorry, not the presentation, the email that's going to be sent after the presentation. Thank you. Best resources for Chem SAT, personal talk, only 1 month. Yeah, just 1 month, but of course I had special circumstances. Yeah, and I think that's going to be about it for today. Yeah, thank you all so much for your questions. That was a great experience today with you guys.
Yeah, it was really good. We had about 120 people, I think, max, and some people just left. So, but it's really good.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, just
yeah, I will upload this video on YouTube, so you can maybe after some time you can go again and just watch it. Access to
because we covered a lot of stuff in here, and if you didn't take notes, of course, yeah, it's going to be a lot of stuff to recall. Right, and just,
you will receive
like our communication with you guys has to be has to end at this point. Like, just feel free to drop me an email or a text.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Vlad.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hey.